Class is in session. This is the Draft Seminar Rookie Profile Series hosted by Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, and I am joined, as always, by John Laub, the Gridiron Scholar. This is the Rachaad White Rookie Profile episode, hot off the combine. Rachaad White, a running back prospect, John, who is continuously rising through the process, a little bit underrated in his college career, but I think will get plenty of attention as an NFL player.
I really believe the combine woke up a large majority of the fantasy football draft community. Many of us liked Rachaad White before the combine, but when you look at his athletic scores and you go back to the tape and you analyze the production, this young man has a role ahead of himself in the NFL. I think part of the narrative, Matt, in high school, he was only a 3-star prospect by 24/7 Sports. So obviously he didn't get a lot of press or attention at that point. Then, like many young men, he went to a JUCO college, Mount San Antonio College, from 2018 to 19. He rushed for 1,264 yards there. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry, and he scored 10 touchdowns as a sophomore. Very nice season. He was named first-team All-American community college level, and he was ranked as the number 3 JUCO running back that year. And Matt, he earned a scholarship to Arizona State. Unfortunately for him and the whole nation, COVID hits. And then the Pac-12 was the last conference to kick off. So you have a JUCO transfer who only plays 4 games in 2020. He was named honorable mention All Pac-12. But if you're not like a die-hard college football guy like myself, staying up until 1 in the morning, you might not have seen Rachaad White, Matt. In those 4 games, he averaged over 100 rushing yards per game, and he caught 8 passes for 151 yards. Nothing that jumps off the page. But if you had watched him, he caught my eye. And I was studying Jaden Daniels because he had such a good freshman year. I was very fascinated in order to grade Daniels. So I was watching a lot of the Sun Devils, and Rachaad White popped off. Last summer, I was drafting Rachaad White like crazy in college fantasy football. He was coming off the board like number 38 or something. He was a great value. And Matt, he was the ultimate flex player in college fantasy football. He was all Pac-12 second team. He gained over 1,000 yards rushing and totaled over 1,450 yards from scrimmage. He surpassed 200 yards rushing against USC, 184 yards rushing the next week against Washington. This is the most impressive statistics. He logged 5 games with over 5 receptions, Matt. He is a dual threat pass catching running back. Matt, I know you've studied him a lot. What does your film analysis say about Rachaad White?
Yeah, John, I think with Rachaad White, it has to start with his athleticism. He's a very fluid athlete, a high level of lateral agility, really nice jump cut, John. You could see him put that on display really consistently. He's smooth getting in and out of his cuts. He's elusive in the open field. He has quickness to his game. I have a speed category, and I wouldn't call him a great accelerator, but he proved at the combine he was fast enough at his size, and he plays with good quickness. He closes space quickly in the short field. He's explosive, John. He gets off the line of scrimmage with really good burst, and he builds that well. He's really explosive in and through his cuts. I think, John, he lacks a little bit in terms of strength. You would think at his size, you'd get a little bit more of a power back. He doesn't quite play like that, so I would say that is my one weakness for his game. I hope he leans into that strength and that physicality a little bit more instead of just relying on the athleticism and explosiveness, but still a good overall tape review, John, and you understand why he may end up being a day 2 NFL draft selection. But let's dig a little bit more into those numbers.
Matt, I just updated my running back rankings, and I posted my top 40. I gave Rachaad White an 83. What did you? It was a 81.4. So
There
we're
you
in
go.
the absolute same bucket with Rachaad White. And I agree with you. For a back who's 6 foot 214, he doesn't look as physical on film as you would like. But when you plug in the athletic ability, Matt, at the combine, he ran a 4.48 in the 40. That's really impressive for a 214-pound running back. Broad jump, Matt. He was the 5th best at the position with 10.5 feet. But more impressive, vertical jump. He was 3rd amongst running backs in 30 feet. We're talking about a young man with high-level athleticism and burst, and it shows in the acceleration. The one area that I have concern, and I think it's related to his strength, I don't think he's unbelievable between the tackles. He can be productive, but he's on 3rd and 2. I'm not sure if he's going to be my main short yardage back all the time, unless he proves it to me on the field. When I plug him into my model, Matt, the first thing I noticed at the end of the season, he had 51 receptions in basically a year and a half. That's incredibly impressive. We have to remember he posted 51 receptions. I think it's like 16 games, Matt. That's phenomenal. He also scored 22 touchdowns for the Sun Devils. Now, he has them both on tape. He has some explosive touchdowns, pass-catching touchdowns that are like over 40 yards. He also has some short yardage touchdowns in the red zone. So he's very versatile as a playmaker there. 6.3 yards a carry. I like this young man. I think he has an immediate role as a pass catcher in the NFL. I think he can grow into a 3-down role, Matt. I like the upside. I like him a lot, even more after the combine. What should fantasy footballers know about Rachaad White?
Yeah, John, you look at it here. I'm still really torn where Rachaad White ends up in the NFL draft. I think coming right off of the combine, the feeling is that he may end up late day 2. I still am leaning towards early day 3 with him. I think he's going to be right on the cusp, and that will kind of affect the draft capital. You know, there's a lot of folks that is a hard line for them. So it'll be interesting to watch what side of that Rachaad White ends up on. Either way, I think he's going to fall in my flex filler tier, which is that running back 3 type player. So I think he's going to be a fantasy football relevant player here for the next couple of seasons. Of course, with a higher draft capital in better immediate volume position here. And John, you referenced it specifically. If Rachaad White gets into an offense where we can feel that he's going to be targeted in the passing game consistently, that's going to be a huge bump for him. Now, his rookie ADP here, I think it's going to end up being early to mid round 2 in fantasy football rookie drafts here. It's a little rich for me, John. I like Rachaad White. I think there's other players that I would go for if his ADP does end up in the early to mid second round. But this is certainly one of the probably, John, top 5 prospects that I'm going to be watching the closest to gauge their value here over the next couple months. If you're a Rachaad White fan, this is an exciting time because your truther status has finally paid off, and you're going to get to ride the next couple of months here, right? John, just like I hope our listeners are going to ride through the next couple of months with us as we continue to go through this entire rookie profile series. You're going to want to make sure you're subscribed, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening on your favorite podcast provider. Make sure that you are subscribed. And as always, we appreciate you checking out